to CareSmarts 360 on Air, a home care podcast. I'm Erin Cal, account executive at CareSmarts. Today, I'm thrilled to have with me the one and only Justin Currie, a renowned home care business strategist. Justin has an incredible track record of building successful home care agencies, and his expertise is invaluable for anyone looking to take their business to the next level. Over the last decade and a half, Justin has founded and grown three thriving companies, and he's currently the owner of a multi-million dollar home care agency. His mission is to inspire 1,000 home care agency owners to deliver the highest quality care to seniors while building profitable businesses. On this podcast, we'll be diving deep into Justin's strategies for landing VIP private pay clients, automating core systems, and building a high performing team. So sit back, relax, and get ready to learn from one of the industry's leading experts. Welcome to the podcast, Justin.
Yeah, thanks, Erin. Excited to be here.
So we'll jump right into it. What are the most effective strategies for scaling a home care agency without compromising quality of care?
Yeah, so important question. Obviously, when you're scaling up, it becomes a little bit more difficult to keep control of things, especially with when you're adding new caregivers, new clients. But one of the big things for us was a hyper focus on client experience. So a lot of agencies, when they bring on a client and they get them all settled, they get their first shift staff. After that, there's not a lot of communication. There's not a lot of follow-up. There's not a lot of touch points. So we really broke down the client experience overall. And what we did is we put in structured visits, structured touch points. We have a feedback collection that's on automation now. And what that did was it just helped us proactively, get in front of clients and I guess eliminate some of the problems before they happened. So just having that increase in touch points, you're just gathering that valuable feedback so you can always improve. But also when there's little concerns that the clients have, about caregiver being on their cell phone, or maybe somebody fell asleep, or anything along those lines, we're staying ahead of. So ultimately, it's actually saving us time and money in the office, as well as just delivering a high level of client satisfaction as well.
Mm-hmm. And can you share specific tactics for attracting and converting high paying private pay clients?
Yeah, so there's a lot of variables to that actually, but one of the most simplest ones, and this kind of surprises people, is location. I mean, and look in your area, look at the U.S. data websites. It's going to tell you what the median annual income is in different areas within your service range, right? So we look at that really, really closely, and further to that, we look at the facilities, the communities that are rated at a really high level. So you're looking for the 5-star skilled nursing facilities. Those are the ones that we want to be at in those more affluent areas. And that's ultimately how we really target the clients. But we go into some more advanced strategies, regarding value perception, price anchoring. There's a lot of advanced psychological factors we do on kind of the back end of that as well. And so when you combine those things and you have a strong brand and a strong presence and reputation in your community, you really start to evolve as that leader in your area. And what that's going to do is it's going to start to bring you the right clients. So I mean, if you're getting a lot of leads, but they don't want to pay your rates, they're looking for low hours, you're just looking in the wrong spots, because those VIP clients are absolutely out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great advice. And what are the essential technologies and automation tools for optimizing home care agency operations?
Yeah, so the most basic of them are going to be your scheduling softwares, and believe it or not, I still see agency owners they do not have any scheduling software,
Mm-hmm.
which drives me a little bit crazy, because it's an absolute necessity, nowadays, especially if you want to try and scale up. But we're using some pretty unique things like Chat GPT. I'm sure most people have heard of this by now. We use that to help us build out our procedures, our processes, our checklists, our policies. We use that. I've built prompts that basically we can add in there. We can put our specifics in, and they'll build a policy around that. And then what I do is I just go in and review it to make sure everything makes sense. I'll make some little changes and add what I need to. But it's ultimately, eliminating probably 75% of our work. And so that's been really helpful. And one other thing, that's a real game changer, and we're only about 80% built on this now, and we just call it the home care automation platform. And so what that is, there's a client side and there's a caregiver side, but that's automated touch points. So it's not going to be, your super personalized touch points that you're going to get with a care manager going out there. But what that is for things like birthdays, and when they're first on board, sending them a welcome email, an introduction to the team. You can have your why video in there, why you started the company. So little things like that just kind of explains your brand and who you are a little bit more. But you can automate 90% of that client communication, and then you pair that with having your care managers and stuff going out to do the visits, and it's a really powerful way to sort of automate and be efficient in your office.
Hmm. And how can home care agencies navigate the complexities of regulatory compliance?
Some people are not going to like my answer probably, but avoidance and elimination is kind of my mantra when it comes to regulatory compliance. There's always going to be some level of compliance that you have to work with, and it's important. I mean, you can't have agencies just running wild out there. But in a lot of cases, they've really overstepped their boundaries, right? So it's made it really tough for providers to provide actual quality care to the clients. And that's one thing that I don't really agree with, because I don't think they, when you step back and look at regulatory compliance with something like Medicaid, for example, they're providing really low reimbursement rates in most states. You have extreme billing complexities. You have credentialing. You have your regular audits, and there's so much work to do that's involved with something like Medicaid, that it makes it unreasonable, and it actually hurts the quality of care for the clients. So really, they make it really difficult to work with, even though you want to be able to help everybody. But sometimes when they add in too much of that regulatory compliance, it makes it so it's not even you can't run a business that way, right? You can't have
Right.
healthy margins. The only thing we're seeing now with things like Medicaid is the very large providers, the $30 million plus providers. They're doing well with Medicaid because they're like the Amazons of our industry, right? They can operate on a razor thin margin, and it makes sense for them. But most smaller agencies can't run that way. So that would be my best advice: is avoid it as much as possible. Stick to the private pay. They just had rules come out with Medicaid, the 80/20 rule, and we're totally unaffected by any of those rules. So
Hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. And the last question for you, Justin, what are the most common challenges faced by home care agencies, and how can these be overcome?
yeah, so there's two that are pretty common that I see all the time. And one is pretty simple. It's mindset. And there's so many agency owners that, they just started, or maybe they have 5 or 10 clients, something like that. And they are absolutely trying not to lose instead of trying to win. So what that means is they're not investing enough time into it. They're not investing enough money into it, and they're just kind of hanging on. So it really delays their startup, if they even get started up at all, because they're not playing the game to win. They're not committing to the agency. And I think that's really hard, because some people don't want to go outside their comfort zones, right? But
Mhm.
as a business owner, and home care or any other business, I mean, you have to commit, and you have to step outside of that comfort zone if you want to be successful. Because yeah, there's so many that I've seen. I think I spoke with an agency owner the other day, and she was I believe she was 8 years in business, and she only had 5 clients at the time, right? And so I'm working with her to try and improve that mindset, and just get her so that she can commit and start moving forward in her agency. And the one other thing I was going to mention is cash flow. So I believe they say about 82% of businesses fail because of cash flow problems. So that's something that I don't think people know enough about when they're starting. Especially, there's a lot of people that want to come in directly and just work with insurance right off the start. If you're going to work with insurance, you have to understand, all the billing complexities, the regulatory compliance, but also when you're going to be paid, right? So historically, depending on who you're working with, that can be anywhere from 2 weeks to 30 days to 60 days. So you have to be really cognizant of that. and make sure that you're prepared, right? You have to pay your team members. So, if you're working with strictly insurance, you better have, either deep pockets or a line of credit or something that can help you float payroll. So I think being really, really careful and cognizant of your cash flow is really important. You can improve that with the payer sources that you work with, who you're working with, but also your payment terms as well. So we've been lucky enough in the 7 years I've owned the agency, we've never taken on even $1 of debt. I invested startup capital at the start, but to run the business, we've never taken $1 of debt, and that's because of how we've structured our payment terms.
Right. Yeah, that makes complete sense. Well, thank you so much, Justin, for sharing your expertise. And to our lovely audience, thanks for tuning in. Until next time, I'm Erin Cal, signing off.
Thanks, Aaron.